Hello, everyone. I'm Pat Emmett. I'm a professional dog trainer here at Godfrey's Welcome to Dogdom, and I run my own business, Dog is Family Canine Training. This is my link to my orientation. Because of the COVID virus going on right now, I've decided to do a YouTube video of what the orientation is, and that way you can view this at home, and then whenever you're ready to go for training, you can just sign up and go. The purpose of the orientation really is because I really am trying to help people find the right trainer for you. I might not be the right one. I believe I am, but you have to make your own decisions. So there's several types of training out there. One type is a standard group class where you have 4 to 5 dogs in there, and you take your dog to class and go through learning the basic manners of good dog behavior. And that is by far the most popular of all dog training classes that are out there. And there's reasons for that. Then there's the very large group classes. There's an excellent organization in Berks County called the Berks County Dog Training Club. You might go to class, there might be 35 to 50 dogs there, depending, and probably after this thing is over with, there will probably be more than that. Great group, very passionate people. But it's, you're only going to get out of it what you get out of it from the class, and there's tons of distractions there, obviously. The other option is private training in your home. Certainly a great option because the dog is actually being trained right there where they live. Obviously, the problem you have with that, though, is it's very, very expensive. To have someone come to your house, you're paying for their travel time, and it becomes a personal choice of what you really want to do there. But it does work. Then we have the new online courses, which a lot of trainers are doing because they can't come to your house because you can't go to their group classes. It's certainly a good way to do it if the people are savvy at it and are really, really understand how to train online. But to try to pick the right online course is tough. There's no real help out there to say, is this the right one? Is this the right one? So that's what I'm here to try to help you to do. What you should first of all look at a trainer is to understand that they had to go to school. They should have some sort of letters behind their name. For instance, my name has KPA-CTP behind it, which means Karen Pryor Academy Certified Training Partner, which means I went through the education. I thought it would only take about a month to become a dog trainer. But the truth of the matter is anyone can be a dog trainer. There's no certification by the state or the government. There's nothing to say, there's no licensing. So technically, any one of you tomorrow could be a dog trainer. Hang a board outside your house, say I'm a dog trainer, and there's nothing to say you can't do that. So that's why you should look for some sort of certification by the trainer. I worked hard to get my Karen Pryor CTP certification, and when I say hard, it was 6 months of training. Plus, every 6 weeks I had to take my dog up to Endicott, New York, and we did training with my 7 other classmates when we were there. The rest of the time was done online, mostly book work, and it was a graduate level course from college. So I was challenged, and which was great because I became addicted, and I really, really became addicted to dog training. The other set of letters behind my name is Certified Professional Dog Trainer, CPDT-KA, which means Knowledge Assessed, which means after I've trained for 300 hours, I was able to go take an online test that took 4 hours to complete. And by passing that test, I became part of the Council of Certified Professional Dog Trainers, which is not a state-run thing. It's strictly I want to call it a volunteer-run type, peer-run certification council to say you've done something extra to become a dog trainer. Dog training isn't just about doing sit down, come. It's understanding the dogs. And what I try to do in class is try to get people to understand their dog, why they're doing what they're doing. So, we're going to talk to some degree about that. When you look at a standard group class, you're brought down by the weakest link in the class. If you have someone that hasn't done their homework and a little slower, the instructor has to bring the whole rest of the class down to that level, and you might not proceed as fast as you would like to. The large group classes, the dog training club is wonderful. You're getting trained by a volunteer who is a very dog savvy person, but might not have had the educational, especially the behavior educational, that I went through in both my certifications. But the group class is certainly less expensive. The large group class is the least expensive way to go for training. I am all about positive reinforcement training. You might have heard that being used a lot. Well, it's really the only way to train a dog today. It's all science-based. It's not based on dictatorship, which is the way I call the old training, which is the way I trained my first 2 dogs with choke chains and telling them do it or else. And that's the way I was raised. And that's probably how you were raised. But the new science-based training is so exciting because we can find out, if we understand the dog a little bit more, we can do a lot of these behaviors and without harming the dog at all. So look for that certification on anyone you decide to choose to go to. It just means that they've done their homework and they know a little bit more about dog training than just putting a choke chain on a dog. There's one type of training I don't recommend, and I don't know if anyone in Berks County anyway have seen the billboards, train any dog in 2 weeks. That is certainly not the type of training I do. If you are interested in that training, certainly look into it. It's not based on positive reinforcement. It is based on shock collars, which is on the opposite side of the planet from me. I cannot even fathom shocking my dog, which, anytime I feel like he's not doing something right. And what happens is the dog lives in fear when you're being shocked, and eventually a fearful dog usually becomes an aggressive dog over time. So that's why we don't use that type of training here. Oh, by the way, it's $4,000 if you have that set aside for training your dog. If you do, I'll gladly train your dog for $4,000 and you'll have a much better experience. Going on, what I do a little bit differently, I've done all these training classes. I've done the dog training club. I have had private training. I've done regular group classes. When I became a trainer, I said to my wife, if I do it, I don't have many years to train, so I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. So what I decided to do is only train one-on-one with the family and the dog. It's basically tutoring or a private lesson, but I'm doing it here at my location, in my training center, which can save considerable cost to everybody because now I can train more dogs during the day. Because I am one-on-one, I can only do so many in so many hours. But this way, I don't have to travel. So you're coming to me, and we can keep that cost way down. The other thing I do, which is kind of different, is when you come to class, you're going to open the door, and you're going to unhook your dog and let him go. We're going to train your dog totally off leash. Let your dog make all the decisions that people tend to use the leash for. Most people use a leash to direct your dog, to pull on them, to pull back on them, to tell them where you want them. And what I want the dog is to make the right decision by themselves. And we're going to show you how to do that. And it's a lot of fun. The third thing is the scheduling. Most group classes, you go to class every Monday night or every Tuesday night. And in today's world, things happen. So you're not going to be able to go out there and make all those classes. Work happens. Soccer games happen. Illness happens. Vacation happens. Anything like that. What I do differently is you're going to go online, and that's part of the reason for the orientation. I have to show you how to do that. But you're going to go online, look at my schedule and say, oh, I can go Tuesday at 4:45, or I can go Friday at 9 o'clock, or I can go Saturday morning at 3:15 in the afternoon. And you schedule your class. That's yours. And you go right online and do that, and away you go. And your classes never go away, so you don't lose them. The idea is you come to class when you're ready to come to class. If you don't have time to work with your dog, well, wait a week. If you're sick, wait a week and come every other week if you like. Most people do come once a week. I call it life happens. That's what I like to call it. life happens. That's why I set this up this way. It works, and people seem to really, really appreciate the fact that they can do that. Um, then the other thing is, if you've ever tried to go to a group class, they'll say, "Oh, we have a class starting up in 4 weeks." But you want to get your dog trained today, and especially through this COVID thing, we definitely want to have this done faster, sooner than later. So after today, after you watch this video, you can go on and sign on for class and schedule a class at any time. The only days I do not train are Sunday and Monday. So Tuesday through Saturday I do classes. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday I do them in the evening. And when you see the schedule, you'll see I have certain classes listed. That's not locked in stone. You can call me and say, "Hey, none of those times work for me," and we'll work something out together to see if we can get a time. I just filled in time so I can train in little groups of 3 classes and then a break and then 2 more classes or 3 classes, and that works for me. That I'm not going back and forth between buildings all day long. So what are you going to learn in class? Okay, what you're going to learn is what I call basic behaviors. If you've ever taken a group class before, it's basically the same thing, but as you know, when you go to a group class, you work the whole class on loose leash walking, and you might train in the next class doing sitting or down or whatever. What I do is, because we're one-on-one, we go at the rate you want to go, but we are going to get done in one 6-class session what you would get done in two sessions at a group class, which is probably like 12 weeks. So here's where we go. The first thing we're going to learn is the basics: the sit, the down, the stay, wait, leave it. Those are all going to be standard things that we're going to work throughout the course. The first class, we're going to work on your dog knowing their name, because most dogs have selective hearing, and we want to make sure that it's very important that they respond to you if they hear their name. And then we're going to also start covering any basic problems you might have. Are they jumping on you? Are they nipping at you? And we can cover that on a personal basis between us, and I'll give you some great advice on how to stop those behaviors. Then the next thing you want to do is, the next class, we're going to jump right into loose leash walking. I personally feel that loose leash walking is the hardest thing for a dog to learn because people are so inconsistent. But loose leash walking, if that's important to you, I do it second class right away, so that we have 4 more classes afterwards that we can work on it and make it something that's going to be rewarding for you and your dog. Now we spend pretty much of the class on that, and then I'm also going to start working on recall. Most people, the dog won't come back to them. Well, we're going to get your dog to come back to you. I'm going to give you 4 different ways to recall your dog, using a nonverbal, a verbal cue, and 2 types of emergency cues. One of them, which is, people said it's worth the cost of the class itself just to know that. So it's wonderful, and it's a lot of fun to do. The third class is my favorite class of them all. We're going to put a mat in the center of the room, and we're going to tell your dog to go to the mat and lay down on it. And it's really neat when you see the process, how it goes, because remember, the dog is off leash. We're not telling the dog to do anything. We're letting them decide to make the right decision. So we're going to work on that. And when you see that, it's really, really something that you feel like, oh, wow, I can understand my dog and we can work this out. From there, we take that behavior and we go into the 4th behavior, which is stay, which is always a great one. But what we use the mat, and we tell your dog to stay in the mat. And in my training center, we put the mat towards the back of the room. And by the end of class, we hope that your dog will stay there and you can go outside the building, come back in, and have them still staying on the mat. It's really pretty remarkable to see. And I'd say a good portion of the dogs understand that and will do that. But the best thing is, you know how to do it now. So when you go home, you know how to work with your dog. Let's see, what else do we have? We also work on leave it, and we're going to work on waiting at the door, that you go out the door first and then invite your dog to come out with you. It's really a neat concept because so many people, especially if you're elderly, you have a standard doodle or something, and all of a sudden they see a rabbit, and boom, out the door they go, and there goes your shoulder. And I've already had people that had to have rotator cuff surgery because the dog pulled on them so hard. And so what we want to do is teach them this is the right behavior, and this is what we're going to do. Let's see. And finally, once they get to stay down, we're going to work at the door because we know what it's like when someone comes to the door and your dog goes nuts. So you hear a knock, 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 and boo, and the dogs are going crazy and they're jumping at the door, and it's embarrassing to you. So what we're going to try to do is get your dog to go to someplace until you invite the people in the room and you take the people back to the dog. The dog doesn't get to meet anyone at the door. It's an interesting concept, but it works. But you have to be diligent upon it, and it's not a this time or next time. Dogs don't understand it. Dogs love one thing more than anything in the world, and that's consistency. If you can't be consistent with them, don't expect them to learn the behavior and be consistent with it. So we're going to work on that. And finally, what we're going to work on, we're going to play a couple games and just to test, see how good the recall is and have fun. It's all done in, dog training. The hard part is people, I personally believe that people don't want to do dog training. They just want their dog trained. And it's tough because dog training is so much more than just training the dog. So what we want to do is make it fun. And so my whole intent is to make you enjoy coming to class, to make you enjoy wanting to train your dog. And, and by getting them to do things on their own, and if they're successful, it makes you feel better about it and you want to come back to class. So, and finally, the last class, now that your dog basically knows everything, we're going to teach him basic manners. We're going to help you train your dog new things at home because after you train, you don't want to stop. So a lot of people I can send them to nose work classes. I can send them to agility classes. But some people just want to do tricks with their dog at home. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to get your dog to hit this easy button.
That was easy.
With his paw. And by the end, and we're going to do that all in that one class. And the whole purpose of that is to work with you to say, what would I do next? How would you go about doing this? So when you go home and you want to teach them a new trick like roll over, it's much easier because you're in the right mindset. So those are the basics of what we're going to learn. Now, this is the tool that I use in class. I don't know if any of you have heard of clicker training. You've probably heard of it. Some dog trainers use a clicker. Some dog trainers are clicker trainers. Karen Pryor Academy is the forerunner of clicker training, and that's where I went to school, so I base everything on the clicker. And the idea of our class, this is a tool. That's all this is. This is not something you're going to have to use the rest of your life. This is strictly to help the dog learn faster. Karen has actually proven that by using a clicker instead of a word yes, which you might have used in a previous group class, a dog will respond 46 to 47% faster using the clicker than they will the word yes. And why? As I said earlier, they love consistency. The clicker consistency is the same sound every time and it never changes, and the dog never hears that except when you are working with it. However, the word yes, how many different ways can you say it? You're on the phone and you're saying, yes, I'm coming right over, and your dog's looking at you like you did something correct. That's the problem with yes, is you're not consistent with it. Your voice changes, it has emotion in it. The clicker has no emotion, and that's why it works so very well with training. By the end of classes, we're going to wean the clicker away. The clicker is only a tool. You should not expect that you're going to use a clicker the rest of your life. However, if you want to teach something new, you pull it out of the drawer and you'll see how fast they come on board. So the clicker is really like, you think of it as a picture. It's taking a picture if they do the thing at the right time, exactly when you want them to do it. I always say it's the easy thing to say is, that's what I want, is what the clicker means. It's like saying yes. If they sit, that's what I want, is what you just told them. and it works really well. And then you're going to get a reward. My training is all reward-based training, which brings me to the next tools you're going to need are rewards, treats that your dog loves. Okay, I keep it light in my orientation because I tell people my goal by the end of class is to have your dog love me more than you. And usually I know I can do that because I have great treats. You're going to learn a lot about reinforcement in my classes. Some treats are not very high-end treats. Some they get all the time. But then we have treats that are special treats. And you got to find out what your dog really likes. So that's what we're going to do with the treats. A couple of the treats, excuse me, I can show you in class that I use, and I'll tell you this is one treat I use. This is green lamb tripe. It stinks to high heaven, which most of the dogs like it. It's just freeze-dried green lamb tripe. That's all it is. And it can be broken up into smaller pieces. The dogs love it because it stinks, and it's healthy for them. There's a lot of great... By eating this is a great treat for them, so it's not just like eating candy. This is another one you might have seen if you've ever been to Godfrey's. It's Loxy Crunch. It's nothing but 100% pure salmon. That's all this is. Again, it has an odor, and you can see it's very brittle and breaks apart really easy. We have to be able to get your dog to eat quickly. And so that's why you especially want something that breaks apart easy or is soft. You want soft treats. Another one that I use that we have here at Godfrey's is real meat treats, which are nice. This is nothing more than beef jerky. Okay? It's beef jerky, and this is how it comes. And what I do is I break these up because we're going to use really tiny treats in class. We're not going to make your dog fat. That's what everyone thinks, my dog is going to get fat. Well, how do we get fat as humans? We eat a lot of carbs. Well, guess what you do in training? You don't use anything with a lot of carbs. You use meat. Meat's all protein. Remember the Atkins diet. You can eat all the protein you want. You can eat a 24-ounce steak, but don't eat any carbs. And it really works wonders. So that's what you do. And just think about good treats, and not just one treat. Always have a multiple treats. You don't like the same ice cream every time. You don't necessarily. I always use the analogy with Behringer's down the road here, which is a great restaurant locally, and they have a lot of takeout food. And I like their chili dogs. So if I go on a Saturday and I get 2 chili dogs and I enjoy them, and then my friends come up the next day on Sunday and they want to go to Behringer's to get ice cream or lunch, guess what? What are the odds I'm going to get a chili dog again? It's not that I don't love them, but I just had them, so I want something different. And that's why you want to think of treats. You want to constantly be changing up treats and constantly finding out which ones they react to more. Like a hot dog might be a real high value treat, or a piece of cheese where they don't normally get that. And you're going to remember that, and you're going to use that to your advantage when you're training. Another thing you should have is a treat pouch. Now this is my favorite. I sell this and I use this here at Godfrey's. It's $25. Comes with a belt now. Put that in there. But this treat is easy to open and close. So you can get your hand in all the way, get out. You can place the hook on whistles, your clicker. There's a zipper in the back to put keys in there. There's a pouch in here. You can put a tennis ball, or you can put, it even has a special pouch. It even has a special pouch in here that you can Velcro closed, and you can put that piece of hot dog or that high-level reward that you need in there. I would always be walking with a treat pouch anytime I walk my dog, because there's a lot of times when you need a distraction, and food is a great distraction for a dog. But you need some. I don't care what you use as a treat pouch. I've had people come with nailing aprons, which are great. And low cost, canteen holder. I had a lady who was a seamstress that sewed her own treat pouch. Wonderful. I just know it's something you're going to use a lot of, and for $25, every time you walk your dog, it's nice having that treat pouch there. And your dog's going to love going with you because you have a treat pouch and says, oh my God, if I go with them, I'm going to be able to get treats also, plus go for a walk. Oh my God. That's all the tools you really need. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about is how to go over this packet that I usually give to people at class. I'm going to send, these are going to be emailed along with this link that I have for YouTube. And some of them are just good basic training tips for you. I just give to everybody. There is one article here. It's a 7-page article. It's a little bit more of a summary of what we talked today. It was written by Denise Lacey, who is my mentor, and she let me use that. My bio is in here, which you can always throw away if you want. I have how my training is different than most, so it's a good checklist to look at, how I do some things different. But the two most important pages are this one that has a yellow on it here that I send you. That's how you get into the computer to look at your schedule, look at my schedule. Now, the first time you do this does not mean you signed up for class. It only means you want to go look at my schedule, and if it works for you, I only consider you signed up for class when I see your name on the schedule that week when we start, or that day when we start classes. So this is the instructions on how to get in the computer. And then once you go in, there's going to be a questionnaire. It's very short, mostly one-word answers. And then what you do is, it's your name, address, the dog's name, breed, are you spayed, neutered, all that. Are you having any issues? What do you want to learn? What's the one thing that you really, really, really want to get out of class that we can work on it harder? But and so that comes sent to me automatically. I take it and I put it in a file. I never look at it again until I see that you signed up for class, and then I bring it out. Then what I do is I actually make a file for your dog and you, because I can't possibly remember everything and where we're at in every dog's class, because everyone goes at a different rate. So what I do is I make a file, and I have a check sheet of where we're at in class and how we're going and what you might need work with or what you're doing really great. And I also have your information there, and also the information of the dog always available to me, so I can always stay fresh. Because you think about it, I let you come when you want to come. You might not come for 3 months because you got sick or you had a surgery and can't come back. Well, I guarantee in 4 months at my age, I'm not going to remember everything about your dog. So that's why it's a big help to me. But after you're done with that, you're going to be able to look at my schedule. And this is the online schedule, somewhat what it looks like. And you'll see most of the classes are that bluish color. Those are the ones you're going to be interested in. They say basic manners. If there's lines going through them, it means the class is taken. If it's just an empty blue, that class is available. You put your name in there, and it says, you have that class. And there's a couple other classes. The orientations that I hold are here. The yellow one's for puppy class, which don't affect you in this thing. So don't sign up for puppy class. That's for 7 to 12-week-old puppies. The bright purple or blue is what you want to look at. And you can see I have quite a few classes during the week, Tuesday through Saturday. So there should be something that fits your schedule, and and we can go on it. Now, in the beginning, you have the capability of signing up for all 6 classes at one time if you like. If you want to come every Tuesday at 4:45, that's certainly fine. The only thing I'm going to tell you is that if you know you're not going to make a class one week, I just would like you to, as soon as you possibly can, is to take your name out of there. There's a little check mark, a little box behind your name reservation. Just open that and say delete, and delete that reservation. It's important because let's just say someone wants to come Tuesday at 6 o'clock and you already had that class, and at 4 o'clock Monday you go, oh, I can't go to class, I have a hairstylist appointment. So you go in and take it out. Well, it works because you got the name out of there, but now one of the catches with this whole system is you have to sign up 24 hours in advance, or the system won't let you do it, because I would never know that you signed up for a class if you sign up at 10 o'clock Tuesday morning to come at 1 o'clock. I'd never even know to expect you. So obviously, if you delete a class at 4 and they have to, for 6 o'clock Tuesday, they'd have to sign up by 6 o'clock Monday, they're only going to have about a 2-hour window that they'd have to go look at my calendar and to sign up for that class. So what happens is no one gets that class, and it ends up being open. So I'm just saying, be diligent and considerate to the other people that want to train, that if you can't make a class, try to take your name out as soon as possible. I would prefer right after this COVID thing that you only try to do one at a time, because there's going to probably be a lot of people want to get training again. I just want to be fair to everybody. But I certainly can't do anything about it if you do put your name in more than once. And, and after that, you're good to go. You have one piece of paper that's here that's strictly the basic behaviors. It's a release of a liability saying your dog's not going to chew me up and spit me out. No, but it's just basically saying that you've had the rabies shot and things like that. And I don't require veterinarian records when you come. I just want this paper signed, and it says on here that you've had these things, and we're all going to be safe. I don't require Bordetella in a private one-on-one class, so don't worry about that. So I think that's it. Yeah. So you have the rest of those articles. Let's see if there's anything I forgot. Bring lots of treats to class. Do not come without treats. Bring lots of treats, different types of treats, so we can have the contest to see who your dog loves more. Bring your dog hungry. Don't feed your dog right before class. If anything, give them a quarter of what they normally get just to give them something, and then if it makes you feel better, and then maybe feed them after class. But we want a hungry dog, because a hungry dog is going to do more to get done what we want to get done. Family members. In normal training, I would say, I love the family being there, because again, consistency. If one person's trying to train one way and another person's another way, the dog is always going to be confused. So if you have people that are involved in training, I want them in class. If you have toddlers, I would try to find someone to watch them, because you're not concentrating on what we're doing if you're trying to watch your children running around the room. But, obviously, I try to make it as easy as possible for everyone. And, we want to have fun at this thing, because this is what it should be. I've had a lot of people. I do have a Facebook page called Dog is Family Canine Training. If you go to that, you can see a lot of the graduates that have been out there. I also post articles that I think are relevant. There's so much misinformation out there on the internet, as you know. So I try to put things out there that you're gonna get value out of. And I also, like I said, I post pictures of all people that completed the courses, both puppy class and regular. And you can just look through all the different breeds that I've worked with over the last 5 years or so. So I love what I do. I love working one-on-one with people. I love seeing the people being satisfied with what they get, the product that they get at the end. And, I hope to see you one day. So after you've watched this, you can look it through some of those documents, and then just go on. There's no harm to go on, and you just have to do that little questionnaire, and then you can see my schedule, and we'll go from there, and hopefully we'll see you in the future. Thank you.